Watch 9, tracking severe storms.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for the Storm Watch 9 special, Tracking Severe Storms. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Haddad.
And I'm Kevin Skarupa. Headed into the summer season, there are a lot of different types of severe weather and scenarios the Storm Watch 9 team will be monitoring for. So tonight, we're going to take a look at some of the extreme conditions we can see, showing you how we track them and giving you tips on how to stay safe.
We will be touching on the topics of thunderstorms and lightning, tornadoes and microbursts, and flooding. But we begin with a situation you have heard us talking a lot about in the past year, drought.
Much like most types of severe weather here in New Hampshire, drought has a history as well. Enhanced by an incredibly dry spring, the Great Lakeport Fire in 1903. A fire that started at a boiler house at a wood mill sent sparks into the air and the fire spread on gusty winds. Some embers traveled 4 miles. Within just a few hours, over 100 homes were destroyed, along with 2 churches, 2 mills, and a lumber yard in Lakeport. After the hurricane of 38 knocked down 1 out of every 3 trees in New England, there was a lot of dead, dry wood in the forests of New Hampshire. That, coupled with a drought, made for many large wildfires in the 1940s. In the early 1990s, another drought arose. Hurricane Bob helped with that in late August of 1991. And of course, we were in extreme drought in the summer and fall of 2020, the lingering effects of which are still building currently.
Here's the latest on the current drought situation in New Hampshire. The rain we've had this month has helped. Right now, a good portion of the state is in the clear, but there is a swath of abnormally dry conditions from the seacoast out to western New Hampshire, where we're also seeing some pockets of moderate drought. Now, I recently caught up with state climatologist Dr. Mary Stampone and asked her how concerned experts are that New Hampshire may be heading for an extreme drought this summer.
I'm incredibly concerned. We did have a wetter than normal December, but since January, the whole state has been below normal.
So what are the impacts of an extreme drought in New Hampshire? According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, a serious lack of precipitation could result in widespread crop loss, disease outbreaks among wildlife, river temperatures warming, and wells running dry. With those potential impacts in mind, the drought situation is something we will be monitoring very closely over the next several months.
Turning now to severe thunderstorms. A thunderstorm usually announces its presence as it approaches with thunder from a lightning strike. Compared to other areas of the country, New Hampshire has fared pretty well. 8 lightning-related fatalities since 1960, but there have been some very close calls. At Camp Bell in Gilmanton in June of 2013, 23 Boy Scouts were injured from a nearby lightning strike that traveled through the ground where they had taken shelter. Evidence of the lightning strike still remains on that tree at the campground today. As for hail, almost half of New Hampshire's hail reports in our history happened during the month of June and July. In July 2006, baseball-sized hail damaged hundreds of cars beyond repair in and around the community of Exeter. Localized flooding and cloud-to-ground lightning were also part of the storm damage that day.
As you saw from those past storms, a pleasantly warm sunny day can quickly change if conditions in the atmosphere are just right to set off thunderstorms. A thunderstorm is a dangerous storm that contains lightning with or without damaging winds or hail. Lightning is a giant spark of electricity. It raises the temperature of the air it passes through to 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. That extreme heating of the air in a short period of time creates a rapid expansion of that air. The result? A shock wave that creates a sound of thunder. So the two go hand in hand. There cannot be lightning without thunder, and vice versa. A thunderstorm is classified as severe when it contains strong, damaging winds of 58 miles per hour or greater, and/or large hail 1 inch in diameter or larger. How does hail form when it's so hot outside? Hail forms when raindrops are carried by a strong thunderstorm updraft into a very cold part of the atmosphere and freeze. Hailstones can grow by colliding with liquid water drops that freeze onto the hail. Once hailstones become heavy enough, they fall in a cold downdraft to the ground. There are many factors that come into play to trigger thunderstorm development. They include warm and moist air near the ground, cooler and drier air at higher levels in the atmosphere, and a lifting mechanism like an approaching cold front. The stronger those factors, the more intense the storm. Wind shear, the change of wind direction or speed with height, also plays a big role in triggering severe storms. Meteorologists are trained to look for these important elements and therefore can give the public lots of time to prepare for the chance of storms. The Granite State averages about 20 thunderstorm days per year, with July averaging the most in any given month.
Okay, so let's say a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for where you are. A warning means a storm is imminent. It's happening now, so you've got to get to safety. Meteorologist Haley LaPointe shows you where you should go and what you should do.
The safest place to be during severe thunderstorms with damaging winds, hail, heavy rainfall is in a sturdy building with a foundation like this one. Now, it's also important to stay away from windows. Don't talk on any corded devices that are plugged in, and it's also best to not wash the dishes or take a shower. Lightning, if it were to hit the house, could actually travel through the plumbing and the electrical system. So how about if you're outside or if you're in a car? Is this a safe place to be during a thunderstorm with lightning? Well, it actually is. It's not the best place. You'd want to be in a sturdy building, but this will definitely work if you can't get to a building. And it's not actually because of the tires, believe it or not. In fact, the tire would have to be over a mile thick to stop lightning. Usually they explode when struck by lightning. Instead, it's the steel that the car is made of and surrounding the car. So when you're inside it, the lightning travels around it instead of through you. Of course, the best way to stay prepared is to know when the severe thunderstorms are coming your way. Best way to do that? Have your phone handy, have it turned on and ready to receive warnings as they're issued. I'm meteorologist Haley LaPointe, WMUR News 9.
Still to come on Storm Watch 9, tracking severe storms. Microbursts and tornadoes can cause catastrophic damage in a short amount of time, but both storms are not one and the same. We break down the differences between the two and how you can keep yourself out of harm's way.
New Hampshire is no stranger to severe weather, and historically it's been a bit of a challenge to detect it in the first place. Now, whether you're on the water, maybe you're hiking in the forest, or even at the beach, the latest advances in technology has made it easier to keep you safer than ever before. We'll show you that coming up.